He's escaping. Aang is escaping. Oh, I'm not Suku. Sorry. Hi, everybody. I'm Andreas, actually.
Hi everyone, I'm Rajat, and today we'll talk about the episode 3 of Avatar The Last Airbender, the Netflix show. So, in the
Sounds
last
good.
episode, in the last
Wait,
episode,
wait,
they
wait, wait,
left the
wait.
Kyoshi
You
Island.
forgot about we have this little intro video, so see you after that.
Alright, so at the end of the last episode, basically the second episode, they all left the Kyoshi Island, Aang, Sokka, and Katara. Now they're heading towards Omashu, and that's where they saw this flying airbender. At least that's what they
Yeah,
thought.
at
And
least Aang thinks, hey, we have another airbender. I'm not alone.
yeah, he got all excited, and
Yes,
then and they reached to the gate, and then they saw like it's heavily guarded the city. It looks amazing, by the way, and they had no way of getting in. So this guy called Jetty, he helps them.
Chet.
He was
Chet. His
yeah,
name is Chet.
Jetty, Jet. Okay,
Chet.
just Jet,
Just
not
Chet.
Jetty.
Just Chet.
Okay,
Just
just
Chet.
Jet.
Just Chet.
Yeah. My bad. So yeah, he helps all of them getting inside, and they got in, and they found the city beautiful, mesmerizing. Indeed, it was. It was pretty big and beautiful, and only to find out that that was not a flying airbender. It was just a normal boy with a flying machine.
Yeah, so Aang basically flies after him and tries to catch him, and I believe he saves him from falling down or something like that. Even I don't remember quite, but then he
Not
learns,
falling
okay,
down.
he's not
Actually,
an
there was like
airbender.
an attack. I think at the wall, and they all
Yeah,
try to
yeah.
save
So
him.
there
Yeah,
was an explosion, right? And
yeah,
then basically, then they all end up in this boy's whose name is Theo,
house.
if I remember
Yep.
correctly.
Mhm.
And then they end up in his house with his father, where
Yep.
his father is Sai is his name, who
Yep.
is also called the mechanic because he's doing all kinds
Mechanic.
of
Yeah. Hmm.
inventions and stuff like that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think immediately Sokka and the mechanist, they forming some kind of a bond. He's telling him that I think you are meant to be an engineer. You're good at inventing stuff. So and he finds that quite intriguing, and he starts thinking about that and in that direction.
Yeah,
And
and he
on the other
even
hand,
even helps Sai with his problem with the air balloon. So he fixes a problem that
yeah,
Sai
so
could not
that was
figure
like his
out. So
pet project that he was working on, and that's where Soccer showed interest that he can actually help him, and that's when
so
they had this
basically,
conversation. Yeah,
basically, Sai is building machinery for the king and to help them in the war against the Fire Nation. And so yeah, that's
correct.
basically he's basically military equipment delivery.
Correct, yeah. And but soon after, that changed when we saw Katara, finding out that Sai is a spy. He's dealing with
Yeah,
firebenders, providing them
yeah.
ammunitions, like bombs and whatnot.
Something they are exchanging some information of sorts. So
That was
Katara
definitely
thinks,
fishy.
oh,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
must be a spy.
Definitely, and she wanted to find out, who are these people, and she starts following that firebender, you know, towards the jungle, and that's when she meets Jet again, because the firebender that she was following knows that he's being followed, and they try to attack Katara, but they come in
Mhm.
and save her basically, and they
Yeah,
become
that's
friends.
where we meet all those rebels as they call
Oh yeah.
themselves. So
Don't remember any of their
pipsqueak,
names.
long shot, whatever, doesn't really matter. And yeah, and then Chet tells Katara that she doesn't have to, or she should not. remember her mother when she was dying, because that's what always going on in her head when she's trying to waterbend, and so she always fails because she has memories, bad memories of her mother. So
Correct.
Chet
Mhm.
tells her, "Hey, don't remember her in her worst times when she was dying. Remember her when she was happy." And so Katara tries that, and yeah, it worked. So she was finally able to do the water bending, the water whip. So in this way, Chet helped her to get more water bending skills.
Definitely. I mean, I think that particular scene turned out to be really, really helpful for Katara, and she started thinking that these guys are definitely doing the right thing. They are
Yeah,
rebels,
good guys.
freedom
They're the
fighters.
good guys.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's what she thought, and that's when she goes back to the Sai's house to tell Ang and her brother that Sai is a traitor. He's
Right.
stealing with the firebenders. Yeah,
Yeah, and Sokka doesn't believe her. She and so they get in an argument together, and Sokka says, "No, Sai cannot be the spy. He's totally fine and okay." And Katara says, "No, but she learned from Jet that he is the spy. She saw him giving information to a firebender, and yeah, so." We as an audience believe Katara because yeah, we saw it
of
as
course.
well, right? So we think, why does soccer not believe her? But yeah, so
But I mean, because they kind of formed a bond, in that very short span of time when they were building or
yeah,
working on that fire
so he
balloon.
has a
You know,
great deal of trust into Sai because he could not imagine
correct,
that he would be a traitor. So and
definitely.
and what happens next? Because then she learns that Sokka is actually right. How did that happen again? She talks to Chit again,
That
right?
happened because she was, I mean, she went out of the house to prove to Sokka that she's right. And that's when she met Jet again, only to find out that he tells her that they have planted a bomb, you know, to kill the king Omashu. And That's when she's like, no, I mean, this is not the way to do it. And he tells her, like, there are always, this collateral, in this freedom fight. And Katara definitely doesn't like the way he thinks or his ideology there. And that's when she finds out, okay, maybe he's not the right guy.
Yeah, so and then Sokka, because she tells Aang and Sokka what she has found out, that there's a planned assassination for the king. So she tells it, and
Correct.
Sokka and Katara then race up the mountain to get to the palace to prevent that assassination attack on the king.
Mhm.
And Katara actually does this by utilizing her new learned skill, the water whip, when Longshot is trying to fire a fire arrow to explode the suitcase that Sai is bringing to the king,
Mhm.
and where the bomb they have placed. And she can successfully
Stops that, yeah.
extinguish the flame on the arrow with her water whip. And so the king was safe, but yeah, and the king was brought away, and everybody was excited, something's happening, and so on. Yeah, and then
In the other scene, I think Ang was fighting Zuko.
yeah, because Suko finally found Aang, and so they confront each other and start fighting in on the marketplace, basically.
Correct, yeah.
But they don't do any bending because they know it's illegal in Omashu to bend anything. And so Suko is also not firebending, so they basically fight conventional. I don't know, did Aang airbend? No, he did not, as I
I think
remember.
Zuko did.
No, he did
I
not. At
think
first, he
Zuko
did
did.
not firebend. No, no, he did. He did not firebend. Did
Hmm.
airbend? I don't remember.
I think
Anyways,
towards the end,
um,
I think towards the end of
yeah,
that
yeah,
fight,
towards the end, yeah,
Zuko
yeah,
did. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Suko did because he was angry at Aang because he revealed to him that he knows that he is after him for 3 years. That led him to the conclusion. Okay, now he knows that Aang was the one who stole the notebook, and that makes him so
Correct.
angry that he's losing his and he actually does fire bending, which of course calls for the guards of the Omashu, the earth guards,
The
the earth
Earthbenders.
bending
Yeah.
guards.
Yeah.
And Hiro noticed that, and he wants to be sure that Suku can escape the city. So he fire bends to lead the attention of the earth gods to him. And so Aang and Hiro end up in earthbending
Prison.
prison, basically.
Yeah, and they were big, I kind of like a cellmates of some sort, or they were like
Yeah,
neighbors in the cell.
neighbors, which
Yeah,
was very weird because Aang was in not in a cell. He was somewhere in a free space, but he was captured in some earth or something like that. And Hiro was in a prison cell, if I remember
I think
correctly.
it
Anyways,
was this. I don't know. I think it was the
they
same. I
could
don't know.
talk to each other, and they do. So,
Yeah,
and I guess this is the moment where Hiro learns Aang a little bit better. He now he talks
that
to
is
him,
true.
and that's where he begins to understand who Aang is, which will be
Definitely.
important later because he thinks that because Iroh, let's be real, Iroh, he's a sweet guy. We all love him.
He,
He's the best.
he's a sweet guy. He's like the uncle you want, you know, who's like always helpful, always loving.
Yeah,
It's like a friend.
yeah, and he's also the conscious of Suko.
That
He's
is true.
basically the
Yeah,
good part of this, and he always reminds Suko that it's not good to be the bad guy. So he's something of a controlling force for Suko, and a good friend,
yeah,
and
definitely,
like a father figure for Suko as well. So Suko has a lot of
definitely.
respect and love for Io, and Io, he's the rational person, the good person, and he knows
Treats
and
him like
and
a son.
and
Yeah,
now, and now he's talking to Aang, and he understands. Okay, yeah, we have. So he basically knows that he has to support Aang in his mission on being the Avatar and stuff like that. So that's where we end up in the episode Omashu, and so
that's true. I mean,
wasn't it in this Omashu episode where we have a little flashback at the beginning where it starts where Ang and an old friend of him, so he remembers Omashu when he was there as a child, yeah, when he played with his best friend Boomy, where he was not able to earthbend correctly, and they have fun with each other. That was how the episode started, with a flashback on Ang being
correct.
in Omashu back then, because that's
Yeah,
going to be important for the next
yeah,
episode, I would assume. Yeah. So
that is true.
what
That is
what are
true.
your thoughts?
I think that was a very nice episode as well. It basically opened up the story even more. Some important characters were introduced. At
Oh yeah,
least
we forgot
the
about to talk about Azula.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she is like a very very important character. I mean, a spoiler. She's not there in every episode, but she's very important.
Yeah, but
And
we forgot to what happened in the Fire Nation's headquarters, capital, where we are introduced to Azula, which is basically we learn there are rebels in the Fire Nation's capital city who want to kill Ozai, the Fire Lord, because they think he's a autocratic emperor and they want to get rid of him, and they find help of a so-called soldier from within the palace, so at least that's what they think, and she opens up the door for them and leads them to the palace, and then she reveals that she is actually Azula, daughter of Ozai, the Fire Lord, and sister to Zuko.
mhm,
And yeah, that was all the plan, to bring all the rebels to the Fire Lord, and the Fire Lord Ozai kills them by burning them. And yeah, and then Ozai tells Azula that he got notes from Sao, who told him
mhm.
that Suku has actually found the Avatar. And that makes Azula panic because she thinks because Zuko was abandoned and he's not allowed to return to the capital unless he finds and brings the Avatar. And since she now found the Avatar, she sees her chance of being the successor of Ozai slipping away. Because if Zuko will be
Correct.
the heir to the throne, basically, and not she. So that's when she's planning. Okay, I have to. How do you say? Yeah, interfere with the plans and the things that Suko does. So she talks to Sao and tells him, "Hey, I'm going to help you from afar. You should find the Avatar." Hey, that rhymes. I help you from afar
Correct.
to find the Avatar.
Correct.
So yeah, that's
I
a,
mean, there was this,
important part of that we forgot to talk about.
and then there was this one thing. I mean, spoiler for people, but like
Everything is a spoiler here.
they have established the fact that Zuko's sister Azula, she's like she wants to be the successor of Osai, and she hates
Mhm.
Zuko, and she wants to be that person, to be the successor. But why they have not explained that in the entire season, why she hates Zuko? Because there have not been like one single scene that explains why they have that hatred between them.
Yeah,
um
maybe because
you know
she's just a generic psychopath.
I think it should be more than that. It should be more than that. I think every person or a big character or important character should have a reasoning behind their actions and behavior.
Yeah, but
Otherwise, they're
what's
just like
the
pure psycho.
yeah, what's the reasoning and the motivation behind Ozai's actions? Why is he doing what he's doing?
I mean, that is true, but like Oza is like the reasonless emperor, or like that villain.
Hmm.
But I think the other characters like Azula, Zuko, Iroh, and Aang, and everyone else, they have some kind of a reasoning behind how they think, what their beliefs are and all that. Azula's, I think maybe they will explain that in the next seasons or whatever. But and nonetheless, I mean, she's an interesting character, I think. And Zuko has two other sisters, that are just like
Are they
somehow,
are they are those other
yeah,
girls
boosting the
she trains
confidence of
with?
Azula. Yeah,
Are those girls that train with Azula? Are they her sisters,
I think so. I think so.
or
They are
are
sisters
they
of
just
Zuko
some
as well.
friends?
No,
Really?
no,
Oh,
because
okay,
I
I did
think
not know that.
from what I remember, they
Okay.
were referring Ozai as father as well.
Ah, okay. I did
Yeah,
not get that. Okay.
and I think
Okay.
they are like younger sisters. They're not on that way of becoming the
Yeah,
successor. So there's like
but
Azula, you're the best.
yeah, but in the end, they all are just fighting over the recognition of their father, And maybe Azula, but she noticed that Zuko isn't the strongest, and she thinks he's not a good heir to the Fire Lord's position. So
Mhm.
I don't know. She has some aspiration to be the new Fire Lord. I don't know. So
Yeah,
that's
I
why,
mean,
and
maybe
she
it's
thought she
purely
thought she
that.
had it in the bag already because she knew Yasuko was never going to find the Avatar. So she was
Yeah.
convinced that she will be the legitimate heir to the Fire Lord's throne, and
Mhm.
sees that slip away from her because now she learned that Zuko succeeded in finding the Avatar.
Definitely. I
That's
mean,
crazy.
Ozai somehow doesn't want her to be the heir, or the successor. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe is it that I don't know, patriarchy kind of a thing, that he only wants his
yeah,
son to be the heir.
yeah. Of course. He wants a son to be his heir, not his daughter. I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know about this world. If gender problems are not a thing in this world, I don't know. But yeah, but I guess
I
he
think
would
it's been
prefer
like in
Zuko to be the heir.
all the stories that we have seen, all the fantasy stories or shows we've seen. It's always the case, that they want the
Yeah,
son to be the heir or
yeah,
whatever. At least that's
yeah.
the preference.
But still, I
But yeah,
mean, Ozai knows that Zuko is weak. He knows that. And he
that's
knows
true.
that his daughter Azula is not weak. He knows that because he's in later episode he's testing her extra, and she demonstrates then, okay, I'm not weak. and you know that. So there's kind
That's
of
true.
an internal struggle going on in Ozai because he knows that Azula would be a stronger leader than Zuko is, in his opinion. Uh,
Correct.
if we
Correct.
talk to Iro, that's a completely different story because Iro would, of course, think that Zuko would be a better Fire Lord than Azula or something, you know. But
And I think
yeah,
the
it's an
one more,
interesting episode. We learned a lot in this episode. And basically,
definitely,
every major character is now introduced, so we know all the players in the show.
I think so. I think the one more important character is the Umashu King. He's pretty important, and but he was just
Yeah,
shown towards the
is
end,
he?
but not really much.
Yeah, he's not that important in the overall scheme of things. Well,
I
he
mean,
will be important for the next episode, but after that,
I think he is still towards the end,
towards the end,
and
okay, now we are spoiling the whole season again. Towards the end, he is going to be captured by the firebenders. I don't know, maybe killed even. I don't. I remember. What did we see? What happens to him?
I think he's
So
not
we
dead.
see a scene where he is captured by the firebenders, right?
Azula,
When
apparently.
Ozai when Ozai because okay we are now at the end the
No,
last
no, no.
episode
Let's just,
basically.
okay, let's not go too deep into it. I think that's it for this episode, everyone. We're not gonna spoil too
Yes.
much because we get carried away
Yeah, we get carried
often.
away because it's such a great show.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
we'll
next
see you.
episode, which
It's a good show,
will be
you know.
called
Yeah.
Into the Dark, by the way.
So see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye bye.